As the court pleases, my lord, we confirm our appearance on behalf of the state.
Yes.
As it pleases the court, my lord, I confirm my appearance on behalf of accused number 1 and number 3.
Okay.
This is the court, my lord. I confirm my appearance on behalf of accused number 2.
Okay.
As it pleases the court, my lord, I still confirm my appearance on behalf of accused number 4, standing in for my colleague,
Okay.
Advocate
Msholono, in respect of accused number 5.
Msholono, again.
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
fine. Sorry, man. You know what? I forgot my pen. Where the pen? Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Yes, Mr. Bali.
As the court please, my lord, the matter was adjourned last week Tuesday on the 20th to today to follow up on the information that Advocate Nisi requested.
Right.
This information can be classified in 3 categories of vehicle. The first category relates to the vehicles that were used by the SWAT unit
Yeah.
during the period June 2020.
Right.
We have since obtained an affidavit from an official of the city of Ekurhuleni attached to the Information and Communication Technology Department, who has access to all AVL records of the motor vehicle of the Ekurhuleni Metro Council.
Right.
We've established that during that period, the team that escorted from Ekurhuleni Metro, that escorted the cold case unit, used 4 vehicles, and those vehicles are covered in this affidavit. It was namely a white Audi A3. The registration number is BZ35MCGP. It's got a fleet number as well, fleet number 261515. And secondly, it was a white BMW 125i with the registration number FT33GRGP with fleet number 262180. The third vehicle was a white Nissan double cab NP300, registration number CN71BVGP with fleet number 132247. And the fourth vehicle was a white marked Isuzu double cab with registration number JC72PVGP with fleet number 133444. And in this affidavit, my lord, the official states that these vehicles were allocated to the SWAT team during the period 2020. And he states that there is no AVL data available for the period of 2020. This period covers the following months, my lord: May, June, and July 2020. He says there's no AVL data for these 4 vehicles and other vehicles that are owned by Ekurhuleni Metro Council. And he says, my lord, that he conducted a thorough search within the city's fleet tracking system. And he says, my lord, that prior to or that the current tracking system, my lord, was only implemented after 2020, the fleet tracking system. And he states furthermore, my lord, that there's no historical AVL data that was migrated from their previous tracking platform into the current system, and he attributes this to various factors. Firstly, he says this is due to a supplier lock-in, an unresolved contractual dispute between the service provider and the Ekurhuleni Metro, which prevented the city from obtaining legacy data from the previous service provider at the time of the transition. And he says the current system was locked without the legacy data being transferred to the current system. He therefore says, my lord, that there's no data, there's no AVL data from the Ekurhuleni Metro for the period 2020, nor can they get it from the previous service provider, as this exercise was done on many previous occasions on different matters, as well as after the current request without any success, my lord. And he attaches the certificate of registration from the INATI system to confirm that these 4 vehicles were or are owned by Ekurhuleni Metro. So in a nutshell, my lord, as far as the vehicles that were used by the SWAT members, no AVL records can be traced. Then the second category of vehicles is the one that was used by the crime intelligence, and that to a large extent refers to the Toyota Bakkie that was used by Constable, the late Sergeant Mabena. In that regard, my lord, the investigating team was able to obtain a case docket that was open after Sergeant Mabena was involved in that fatal accident. It's a copy of the case docket, the post-mortem, as well as all the chain statements, the statements of the police officers who attended the scene after the accident. And there's also attached to this document photos of the vehicle wherein Sergeant Mabena demised the white Toyota Bakkie. There's also a statement from the section commander public transport in the Counter and Security Intelligence Unit at head office, dated 20 November 2023, addressed to Brigadier Gininda, and it's addressed to the head of the cold case unit, and it reads as follows: First Lawrence Cast 63610 of 2014, assist us for information on motor vehicle Toyota Hilux double cab, gives the registration number BK23RLGP. And it says AVL stroke tracker records for Sergeant KS Mabena. The important paragraphs are paragraphs 4 and 6. Paragraph 4 states as follows: The vehicle, Toyota Hilux double cab, registration number BK23RLGP, was not fitted with auto vehicle location in brackets AVL or any other tracking location device due to the nature of the operations involved. Paragraph 5, the vehicle log sheet for the month of June 2020 was searched and could not be traced from the storage, and the person who may have been in better position to assist in this matter is now deceased. Paragraph 6, furthermore, the said motor vehicle was involved in an accident on 23 September 2022 where Sergeant Mabena lost his life as per Mecklenburg CAS 142/9/2022, and the vehicle was written off and sold as scrapped as a result of the accident. The affidavits that I referred to earlier on pertain to this case docket, Mecklenburg CAS 142/9/2022. Then the last category of the vehicles, my lord, is the vehicle that was used by Sergeant Mabena, on which information was also requested. The investigating team obtained the statement of a warrant officer who is attached to the Ekurhuleni District Office as a fleet manager, and he confirms that he received a request regarding one of their vehicles that was used by Constable Zungu, a Volkswagen Polo, on 26 October 2014, as well as the log books pertaining to that vehicle. He says after receiving this request, he requested for time to launch a search for the logbooks of this VW Polo. And he says he went into the storeroom. He checked, but unfortunately he couldn't find any record or logbooks of this vehicle. And he says he did check all their storage and nothing could be found. That is, my lord, the sum total of all the vehicles that were involved. So in other words, there's no historical data for the AVL records. For the Ekurhuleni Metro vehicles, as far as the vehicle of Sergeant Mabena Toyota Hilux, it wasn't fitted with AVL. The log sheets cannot be found, and this pertains to the vehicle that was used by Constable Zungu as well on the 26th of October.
Sorry, that vehicle, does it still exist, the Zungu one?
Well, I suppose so, my lord. He doesn't state as to whether it does exist, but I suppose it does still exist.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Mnisi, any comments?
Thank you, my lord. This information, my lord, although initially it got requested by me on behalf of the accused, particularly the information relating to the AVL record from Ekurhuleni Metropolis and the information relating to the vehicle that was utilized by Zungu in relation to his allegation in his evidence in chief here. But subsequent thereto, the court indicated that, and understood that to be a court order. The court indicated that all vehicles, actually all records, AVL record of vehicles that were involved in the arrest of all the accused that are seated here at court should be made available to the defense. Hence, I am saying, although that was initiated by me, but it came out as a court order. That is just point number one. Number two, my lord, I realize that the state is reading an affidavit that was penned by somebody else, or is giving a summary of an affidavit that was penned by somebody else. May I just indicate, my lord, that there was never ever an agreement between the defense and the state that at some point in time evidence will be led through affidavits. That was never an agreement. So at all material times, if there is information that needs to be brought to court here, especially now that this is a criminal trial, that affidavit should be brought to court viva voce. There are issues that are contained in the affidavit here that we would still want clarification on. So we can really not, on behalf of accused number 1 and 3, limit ourselves to what is contained in this affidavit here. For an example, my lord, the statement relating to the non-availability, or the affidavit relating to the non-availability of the AVL records of the motor vehicles from Egu Ruleni. The person who penned this affidavit says that he went through their system. He could not find the record of the affidavit. But importantly, he also says again that furthermore, it is important to note on paragraph 4 of his affidavit, and I'm not validating the fact that evidence must be brought before the court through affidavits. It's just a response to my colleague, Malo, where he says that, furthermore, it is important to note that no historical AVL data was migrated from the previous fleet tracking platform into the current system. This was due to a supplier lock-in and unresolved contractual dispute, which prevented the city from obtaining legacy data from the previous service provider at the time of transition. As a result, the system was locked without the data migrated. This, to me, my lord, simply means that although the motor vehicles were used by Egu Ruleni Metro Police, somebody supplied to them with these motor vehicles. In other words, if I may be corrected if I'm wrong, these were leased motor vehicles. And if these were leased motor vehicles, people who would have been responsible for the fitting of the AVL system could not have been Egu Ruleni Metro Police or Egu Ruleni, what is it now? The Department of Transport. It must have been the people who leased them with these motor vehicles. Otherwise, if the person who leased or the company that leased them with these motor vehicles gave them, did not fit them with these AVL gadgets before it leased them to Egu Ruleni Metro Police, this person must have allowed Egu Ruleni Metro Police to fit their own AVL data. Now there's a gap there. We don't know whether when these vehicles were leased from whoever that they were leased from already had this AVL data or they did not have it. I don't know. But from the reading of paragraph 4, it seems to me that the person who might have leased these vehicles to Ekurhuleni Metro Police, because of a contractual dispute, kept certain AVL information with him pending the resolution of the dispute. So it is therefore incorrect to suggest that there was no record that was found relating to the AVL. Relating to the AVL records that were of the motor vehicles that were utilized by Ekurhuleni Metro Police, who assisted in the investigation of this case. To my mind, it simply tells me that they simply went to their records and they ended up there. But this information, it tells me that the supplier is the person who could have or who could be in possession of this AVL record. And I've mentioned, Madam, that this information is central to my presentation of accused number 3's case as per the instruction that I got from him. Therefore, it cannot simply be admitted on the strength of what is contained in here. And the person who penned this affidavit not being summoned to come and explain the circumstances relating to the leasing of the motor vehicle. Number one, I'm sorry, my lord. The instruction that I got from accused number 1 in relation to his arrest on the 5th, this does not involve accused number 3. So it is just not enough for somebody to pen an affidavit and say, I'm unable to get information here, and therefore the story must end up there. No, it does not work out like that. Particularly now that this is a court order, and the court order is very specific. All vehicles, all AVL data must be made available. In other words, when the court says all, court simply does not say get into your system, and then if you realize that there's no AVL record that has been found, and then you can come back to court and tell me that there's no AVL record. They must go deep, because these AVL records are central to a just decision in this matter as it relates to accused number 3's case, my lord, without which accused number 3 would not have had a fair trial. I'm sorry, accused number 1 would not have had a fair trial, my lord. The same thing applies to the Zungu AVL thing, AVL request of, let me repeat again. The same thing applies to the requested AVL information of the motor vehicle that Zungu was using on the 26th of October 2014, as per his testimony that he drove from Tembisa to Johannesburg, where they had a traditional function there. We are only being told that they got into their storage and searched for logbooks. We're not looking for logbooks. We're looking for AVL records, as it happens with the Ford Fortuner, with the Toyota Fortuner, my lord. We're not looking for logbooks, because there's a propensity of information being falsified, and I'm saying this with due respect, in logbooks. That happens a lot. So that will not give a clear picture of the destinations or of the directions and places that this motor vehicle went to on the alleged dates, my lord. So we're not worried about the logbooks. They could not have been there in the storage. In any event, many things go missing in the storages everywhere, whether it's in the Department of Health, whether it's in the Department of Public Works, whether it's even in the police. Things go missing, as it has happened here. But we're not concerned about that. We're concerned with the AVL. If the state was able to get the AVL on the Toyota Fortuner, summarily they are unable to get the AVL records on these vehicles that you're requesting here, when a member of the investigating team specifically indicated that all vehicles are fitted with AVLs. It's very surprising, my lord. it's not only surprising, but it confirms our view that we had all along, that we could not have actually expected our persecutors to become our redeemers and saviors at the same time. And this is exactly what is happening here. And I pray that it does not really come to that. There's no investigation, proper investigation that was done here. I am still requesting that the people who penned this affidavit should either come to court here and give their explanation, be cross-examined, or be assisted on how to conduct this investigation, rather than to simply accept on the face of it what they are saying here. But in the main, my lord, this is central to the fair trial as it relates to accused number one. In so far as Mr. Mabena's vehicle is concerned, I heard a state saying my request was threefold. I'm not involved with Mr. Mabena's vehicle. But it can also be mentioned, my lord, that on the basis of what the court said, that all the AVL records of motor vehicles that were involved in the arrest of this accused person must be brought to court, then that remains also a requirement that AVL records must also be brought to this court. The fact that this motor vehicle was involved in an accident, it's neither here nor there. Unless the states want us to believe that that accident also took away the records that are stored in their system, which will be very unintelligent, my lord. We appreciate the information that this motor vehicle was involved in an accident, but there is nothing that explains in this document what is the situation with the AVL records. Thank you, my lord. I'm told, my lord, that accused number 3 want to have my attention, yes. Thank you, my lord, for the indulgence. It almost skipped my mind that in requesting this motor vehicle, we also make mention of a Qashqai motor vehicle. I had a look at what this Qashqai motor vehicle is. I think it's a Nissan brand. Oh, it's made from Nissan. And accused number 1 is confirming that at the time of his arrest at Tembisa, throughout the day, this motor vehicle was also there It has not been mentioned in any of the documents that were submitted to us here. He also mentioned, my lord, that there's a Ford Ranger that was also utilized by the Metro Police, which was marked as well. It has also not been mentioned here. He also mentioned that there was also a Golf that was driven by Jonathan that was also marked Metro Police.